Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, karibu sana. My name is Philomena and this is Being Ilomiko. We live, we love and we grow in faith. So happy Mother's Month, you all. I mean, it is so funny. Women have just decided to take over our time and take over this world, because we have one day to celebrate women in the calendar, but then women just decide, nah, we are going to take the whole month to celebrate women, and then we have one more day to celebrate mothers specifically, and then they decide, no, we are going to take a whole month to celebrate mothers. I mean, it is even worse if you have more women in your life, because every time it is their birthday, they decide, no, the whole month you guys are going to be celebrate me being born, 20 years ago. It's crazy. Women have decided to take over, but we are not complaining. And here at Being Ilomik, we are not going to be left behind, because I can get biased because I am also a woman. So because it was Mother's Day, we are also going to get into the hype of celebrating mothers for the rest of this month of May. Okay, so one of the things that is really special about mothers is the lessons that they teach us and the things that they instill in us, so that we, grow into the people that we become. They teach us a lot of things, and so for every month, for every week of this month of May, we have 4 weeks. I am going to share with you lessons that I have learned from my own mother, um, which is why I am calling this little mini series Mama Taught Me. So why don't we go right ahead, and I will give you my first lesson that Mama taught me. God above all things. Ever since we were little, my brother and I remember that it was always made a priority for us to, if it is mass, if anything that involves communion with God was always made important. That every Sunday we were dressed up to go for, for mass. Well, previously, before we could be able to go for mass, then it was Sunday school. Every time there was a small Christian community meeting, we were dressed up and we would go there. Every time that there were family prayers, we were encouraged to participate in those prayers. That even before we could, we could be able to say prayers on our own, that when there was a communion, should I say a communion, like when people were participating in prayer, that we were involved. We were not being told, you guys are still kids, you go away. No, it was actually, we would be called to participate, because, and I think that is what, grew a foundation and a desire to keep searching for that in our lives. And I remember, if it was even in the decision of the school, the kind of schools that I went to. I remember when I was going for the decision of the high school that I have to go to, it was very important to my mom that it was a Catholic sponsored school, because she knew. And how I didn't get why it was very important, like whether it is Catholic sponsored or not, we'll just find a place to worship God, right? But how I came to understand it later is, how she was bringing us up. She was bringing us up in that faith, in the Catholic faith, and therefore she wanted for that to continue. And it was important, because school was part of the formation, that school also encouraged me and my brother that we get to grow in that faith, and that our faith gets to be grown even when we are in school, so that we don't have a gap. And therefore, even when we left high school, we were going to university, and when my mom left, I remember the first thing me and my friend did, we went to attend of there were older students, and we asked them, where do Catholics go to pray? And it was a good thing, because the people that we asked were Catholics, and so they shared with us all the information that we needed to basically know. And so it was always so very important for me. And I think I started it as honoring my mom, that wherever I went, I looked for a place in which I can commune with others, that it was important for me to look for people who shared that with me, and that I can share that with them. Like, you can't limit what everyone shares on social media, and I know that most of you understand that. And so there were these videos that you don't want your mom to see. Like, they're dirty videos. And so I had auto download. The auto download setting was on for me, for my phone, and therefore it would just, every time that my data was on, it would just download things. And so, for groups, sometimes you don't get to go through everything that was shared there, so I'll just open the group and close. So one day, when I was at home, my little cousin and my auntie take my phone, and they go to my gallery. Then they start viewing my gallery, and they saw those, like, it was a video, and it was not such a good video, I must say. It's just one of those things that weirds you out. And so I was not around, so they told my mom that there's this video. So when I came back, my mom tells me, I have heard that there's a video, that there's a bad video. Bad, my mom said bad video, because she could not say dirty video. There's a bad video in your phone. And so I could see the disappointment in her face, but I could not tell her, mom, sometimes auto download does these things. It's not, and you can't limit what everyone does. So she tells me, I have grown you in the best way that I can. I have taught you the morals that I want you to have, and if you cannot fear me, then at least just fear God, because God can see these things. And I remember seeing the disappointment in my mom's voice and in her face, and I felt so sorry. So what I did after that is I put off the auto download. I deleted the videos, and I decided that the only time I will download a video if I see the feedback and it's a good feedback. I'm not going to have those videos anymore in my phone, because I can't have my mom get disappointed with that. And so I knew, ever since that, I remember just knowing, even though I can hide from my mom, even though I can hide what I am doing or what I am saying, or even what I am thinking from my mother, I cannot hide it from God. And I knew then that my relationship with God was not just about my mom anymore. It was going to have to be about me. And I mean, it is even worse that you can't hide your actions, your words, your thoughts from God. You can't even hide your intentions from him. So whatever you're doing, everything that you give to the world, everything that you do, whatever intention you have behind that, God can also see that. And my favorite thing that my mom says is, I don't know if I should say it in Kamba, but she says that in all these things, God is good, or God is faithful. And it is her way of saying that wherever the will of God is, there's faithfulness there, that there's good for us there. There's no harm for us. There's safety for us, there's peace for us, there's contentment for us, there's fulfillment for us. Or at least that is what I've come to, decode from what she says every time that she says that, because my mom can be worried about money for school fees, and she will just say Maúndúní, onthe, Ngai, niwe, museo, that in all these things God is good. Or she may be worried about two or three activities that are colliding with each other that she's supposed to attend to, and she will say, because she's not very sure about which way to go or which one to go for and leave the other, and she'll just say that in all these things God is good. And what I learned from that is, in whatever thing, whatever decision that I have to make, I have to involve God in that. And if God is there, and if the will of God is there, and the grace of God is there, then there's not there will not be any harm for me. Like, it is going to work out for good. I'm going to find peace with it and contentment with it, that God's faithfulness is there. And then, when we were learning, we used to be told that the best inheritance that your parents can ever give you, it is education. But at this point in my life, I do believe that one of the biggest lessons, one of the biggest inheritance, one of the biggest gifts that my mom has ever and will ever share with me, it is God, and teaching me the basics about it, and giving me a beautiful foundation, so that when now I am able to have my own separate relationship with God, that I can be able to have a respectful one, a good one that I honor him, and one that I know that is good for me, that is that will guide me through all things and in all things. And in knowing that that God is gracious enough, and that he's concerned for every part of my life, and that I can have that, and that I don't have to be scared. So yes, this is just one of the biggest lessons that I have learned from my mom, and thank you, mommy, for this lesson. So that is it from me today. See you next week for the second episode of My Mama Taught Me. And I hope that you like this video, and if you like it, please share with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe. Yeah, so see you next week, and God bless you so much, and I hope that you keep growing your relationship with God. And remember that in all these things, God is faithful. He always will be. Bye bye, darlings.